Less of the industry perspective, we have with us Mr. Venkat Sitaram, General Manager and Geo Head, South India Corporate Business at Dell Technologies. I'm sure he'll be giving us some insights on how industry, technology industry and government and hospital ecosystem can all together to create that effective ecosystem. Over to you, Mr. Venkat. A huge round of applause for him, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, it's a real privilege to be here. And I couldn't imagine myself standing here without a mask. Of course, I do respect some of you still wearing it. Let me do a quick introduction. My name is Venkat. I'm responsible for healthcare and education business based out of Bangalore. This is my first visit to Mumbai since pandemic, and what a wonderful experience it's been so far. And I must tell you, coming from Bangalore, we got the rain clouds also to Mumbai. So if it was raining this morning, it is thanks to some of us who's traveled from Bangalore. Today's discussion, I'll keep it very, very short. I know there are a lot of distinguished guests here who are experts in healthcare. So I'm not going to talk about healthcare. That's not our domain. But I'm going to talk about technology and the impact technology can have in the space of healthcare and life sciences, and what Dell is doing about. That's something that we would like you to draw your attention. And I must say, Dr. Naveen covered it pretty much comprehensively, and I was thinking, what do I speak? I mean, he's covered it so well on predictive, preventive, and it's all about future. What do I talk? But what I will do is give you a perspective on how we are seeing next 5-7 years, let's say up to 2030, this healthcare industry, how it's going to transform. Now, what I'm going to say is not something that we have only learned. Of course, we have picked up a lot from customers like you, not just in India, but even globally. So I'm going to put those learnings. I'm going to give you some industry stats. So therefore, not to miss out on them, I've made sure that I've put that down in a paper. So first thing first, I want to set the context to my discussion today by saying we are living in a human-machine partnership era. I repeat, human-machine partnership era. We've heard of internet era, we've heard of virtualization era, and so on and so forth. This is human-machine partnership, meaning humans and machines are going to talk and take decisions which is going to have a huge amount of impact. And if I were to relate this context to healthcare, I think Mr. Naveen alluded that it's about predictive, preventive, personalized health, wellness, saving lives. Huge outcome, isn't it? And that's something that I'm sure all of you here are tirelessly working. In this context, I want to also relate, if you look at what's going on now, especially in the last 2-3 years of pandemic, the digital experiences have surpassed or likely to surpass physical experiences. Everything that we do, the way we work, the way we live has changed. Somebody continues to go to a mall, but you will continue to online order stuff that will reach you. We will continue to meet professionals outside like the way we are doing. We will continue to have, despite travel and everything opened up, we will continue to have online meetings. We will continue to visit the gym and do our exercise workout. At the same time, we will also be listening to our favorite instructor online and work on that. So it's going to be a world of hybrid where both physical and digital experiences will continue. But the point to note here is the digital experiences are fast outgrowing, and it is, I would say, it's going to take over the physical experiences. And year 22 is going to be the inflection point. A lot of industry data reveals that in 2022, digital experiences are going to be ahead of physical experiences. Now, why am I saying this? Therefore, for any business or for anybody or any human, it is important to understand we will need to look at digitalization. People talk about digital transformation, right? So it stems from these facts. And if you were to look at how the next 5-7 years are going to pan out in the healthcare industry specifically, I think what we hear is technology is going to make a significant impact. Things like EHR, electronic health records, or if you look at mobile health apps, or your connected devices or IoT sensors that you're using, all of these distributed systems are now going to talk to each other. It's going to become a highly integrated a world that we will move, and these will become points or becoming already points of data. Each of this is generating huge amounts of data, and here is where I wanted to share the statistics. The volume of data, the health data, in the last 5 years has increased, or I would say has risen by 900%. Can you imagine this? Because the source of data generating points have significantly gone up, right? We are living in a distributed world. 900% in the last 5 years. If you talk to a healthcare organization or a service provider, they are saying their data, average data size is above 8 petabyte. Average. I'm talking of average. And look at those institutions which are serving a lot more customers, will see a significant increase on this number. Last but not the least, the number of records in the last 1 year, the number of health records in the last 1 year have grown by 250%. 250%. So look at how much of an impact data has created. And therefore, data is becoming the central for decision making. All that Mr. Naveen alluded to in terms of predictive, proactive, preventive decisions being taken, it's taken with the data that is getting generated. And emerging technologies like AI, ML, cloud-driven, AR, VR are helping mine this data, to make intelligent decisions. So therefore, organizations or companies who kind of realize this change and who are able to embed digital in their business are going to be the one who will differentiate amongst their peers. People who are going to take this journey faster, they will see significant outcomes being driven, and it is clearly going to be a competitive advantage or a differentiator for future. Realizing these facts, Dell Technologies, we are an essential infrastructure company, and for us, healthcare is central to everything that we do in terms of our research and development and the products and solutions that we bring into the market. We are very, very closely attached, and we have a reputation of working with over 75% healthcare providers in India of any size, be it anywhere in the world. We present across all countries, and more so in India, we present across multiple countries. And irrespective of your business size, there is somebody Dell. And that aligns fundamentally to the vision of what we are. We believe that technology is here for human progress. And any human being in some form or the other, we potentially see them as a Dell user. A human being of today will need 2 devices at least. One is a smartphone, and the second one is a smart laptop. And when people think of a smart laptop or a smart PC, if we put it as smart PC, I'm sure the recall for Dell. And that's where we come and influence the way technology can be used to deliver outcomes in healthcare organization. Last but not least, before I close my talk, I just want to give a perspective on how these emerging technologies are changing the way an outcome is delivered, and I will try and give an illustration, an example that we did pick up very recently. Let me give a scenario where there is a patient who is highly asthmatic, current state, okay? Highly asthmatic. What this patient does today is kind of use air freshener at wherever they live, etc., to keep the pollutants away. And this patient also, by the institution, is advised to wear a smart device to keep tracking on what are the possible, call it those triggers which are creating this. We talked about prediction. So this is prediction using technology. And then using a smartphone, the patient is able to draw patterns on what is creating these triggers and when. Have I got exposed to some pollutants or some, let's say a pollen, and is causing some distress, or is it a food allergy? And you're able to track, this patient is able to track all of this with a smartphone. Current state, isn't it? Great. Great, where you're getting those, on-demand digital care, or all-demand doctor care visiting your home, or online consultation saying, hey, make these changes in your dietary, do this, etc., and take care of your health. Now, with changing environmental conditions, so much that is changing. Imagine a scenario where, despite doing all of this, this particular patient is unable to get rid of this asthmatic disorder. Instead, it is only adding up more severe other symptoms, like a headache or a frequent fever, and so on and so forth. Here is where the power of those technology come in. How? This patient decides, let me put all my last 2-3 years wellness data into a crowdsourcing platform. And here is a bunch of, call it robo-doctors, or a bunch of other experts working on the crowdsourcing platform, who's analyzing similar trends, comparing it what maybe others would have faced, and trying to share an experience saying, maybe you try making this adjustment. It's a technology-led consultative decision in terms of improving healthcare. That's number one. Second, imagine a scenario where the crowdsourcing team, which is running on, or which is working on this data, is requesting the patient, saying, send me your gene data. I'm going to send somebody to collect the gene sample. I'm going to have that tested. It alludes to what Dr. Naveen talked about. Working on those sampling with technology like ML, machine learning, because there's tons and tons of data. A medical professional expert cannot take the decision himself or herself using this amount of data. It has to be put to a machine. Machine does that crunching, etc. And then you're able to arrive at a sample pattern of what kind of wellness cure is required for patients like this anywhere in the world. Of course, in doing so, in putting these data into a crowdsourcing platform, there are certain regulations. We are a country driven by a lot of regulations. You will need to look at security aspects. And when you think of all of this, so emerging technologies, as I said, is great. It gives you huge outcomes, huge benefit, that is the state of future. But they also bring in those challenges. Challenges in the form of security, challenges in the form of performance that is required from the technology infrastructure, etc. Now, who is going to address this? Here is where Dell Technologies can be your ally, who will help build those technology infrastructure solutions which can leverage the power of the emerging technologies like robotics, AI, VR, and so on and so forth that I talked about, number one. And number two, in helping create predictive modeling, predictive diagnostics, in total, I would say digitally conducted care for future. I think this is where Dell Technologies team can help. I've been talking about the current state and the future state and the power of technology and the enormous opportunity that technology has had an impact on healthcare. We will hear more details about what I've been talking at a high level from my colleague, my field CTO, Sugumar, who will follow up through the next course of the session during the industry presentation slots. I'll encourage you to take a finer look at the details that we will be talking. But if I were to conclude my session, I really must thank APAC Healthcare, APAC News Network team to get us here as part of this event. It's a real privilege and pleasure to partner with you guys. And thank some of the distinguished audiences who are here for a patient listening. I wish we have a great day and a great event today. And I look forward having these interactions during the course of this event. And thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for being a wonderful audience. Have a great session. Thank you.
Thanks, Venkat Sitaram from Dell Technologies. I can say, if I want to say a crux of what you have said, that let's demystify data with Dell. That can be a one-liner. Being a journalist, always looking for one-line, I think that can be the crux of what you have said for the last 15 minutes or so. And obviously how emerging technologies can be embraced more to bring that transformation. Thank you so much, Venkat Sitaram, as well. And I was seeing Mr. Naveen Sona nodding when you were speaking. So I think I also see a lot of convergence happening between government and industry, and also the hospital digital transformation leaders who are present here as well. Thank you so much. With this, we have come to the end of this inaugural keynote session, I must say. Just to inform about what APAC News Network is doing, as Venkat has said that Venkat is taking care of education and health. So APAC News Network is a community building, knowledge consulting media company. We are focusing on creating awareness on the importance of technology and innovation for governance, healthcare, education, enterprise sector, BFSI sector, and with a startup ecosystem as well. And we run a knowledge portal called apacnewsnetwork.com, where you can find all the information regarding innovation and technology happening in all these sectors. And also we are creating this kind of knowledge sharing platforms for last 2 years, where best of the minds coming together from the various aspects of life and discussing and deliberating upon various aspects of innovation technology, so that we can create that kind of blueprint to move into the right direction. And like all other initiatives, we are going to document this initiative as well, and we'll be circulating digitally to all our stakeholders so that some action can be taken based on the discussion today. And so keep following APAC News Network in our social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And also, you'll be happy to know that in last 2 years, we have created an impact of almost touching 10 million plus lives through our 100 plus events, webinars, outreach programs. That has been the highlight of APAC News Network. Thank you so much. I'd like to invite Mr. Gopi Krishna Arora and Sangamitra Mohanty, two other co-founders of APAC News Network, along with me, to personally felicitate our two inaugural speakers. A big round of applause for them, please. To Mr. Naveen Sona Natisan, a huge round of applause for him, please. To Mr. Venkat Sitaram, General Manager, Geo Head, South India Corporate Business at Dell Technologies. A huge round of applause for him as well. Can we have a group photo of both the speakers together with our team, please? Thank you so much. With this, we will move to the next session, the first panel discussion of the day. I will again like to thank Naveen Sona and Mr. Venkat Sitaram for being part of the inaugural keynote session. I know we are running a little late, so I want to